Welcome to the SimpleSoftware Training University video number 108. Output options, getting the format, folder, and file name you want. In this video, we will go over the output options in SimpleIndex, which determines how the files are output, organized, and named in the software. So we're going to open SimpleIndex first, and we're going to be using this sample configuration that I have set up for demonstration purposes. The first part of the output options, of course, is the output path. The output path determines where the images are going to be saved to. You can locate the output path in the job options under the batch tab here. You can set the output path to a particular folder by hitting the Set button and navigating to the folder that you want. You can have it set to use relative paths, which are a set of % commands that we use in SimpleIndex. And what this allows you to do is avoid setting certain folders on certain computers, which allows you to move the configuration of various computers and keep the same settings. So if we hit No here, it'll put in the full path to where this output folder is located on my computer. But if I hit the Set button and hit Yes, it'll use a % command that it generates automatically. In this particular situation, it uses %config file folder %, which is where the particular configuration that I'm using is saved. And then /output for the subfolder. Now, another option that wasn't mentioned in the input video was the fact that you can leave the input and output paths blank. If you leave these blank, it'll ask you which folder you'd like to import or export to during the process. So with the input blank, it'll ask you what folder you'd like to import images from, and with the output path blank, it'll ask you what folder you'd like to save images to. Now, most of the output settings are dictated by the index fields that you have. And then based on what index criteria you have set for folder and file name dictates how the images will be saved to the main output folder in the output path. So with this particular configuration, the values are set to folder and file name for the chart number, and file name for the name and age. Now in this particular document type field, we don't have folder or file name set. So this index criteria will actually not be exported at all due to the fact that it has no settings for export, only for recognition. The field separator value is how the fields are separated in the file name with the index values that are checked as file name. If you want to get an idea of what the output will look like, you can look down in the output sample section. So starting at the output folder here, we see that chart number will be the first level folder, and then as the file name, we'll have chart number dash name dash age. Now the field separator can be whatever value you want. So technically you could put, say, ABC, and then all the separators will be changed to ABC. This allows you to make sure that the fields are separated with the required value. Now, to see an example of how this particular configuration will output, let's go ahead and run it. So now it's been saved to the output folder, and if we want to look at the output folder, we can open it manually, or we can go to the View menu and select Output Folder, and it'll automatically open. So we see the chart number is the folder name, and then the subfolder has the chart number, dash name dash age. So let's delete these files out and show another example. This time we're going to check folder and file name for all the fields. Now in the output folder, we see that the chart numbers of the first level subfolder. The second level subfolder is the name. The next subfolder is the age. Then the next subfolder is the document type. And finally, we have all the values as a part of the file name. And then in the example, we can see that laid out. And you can see that it looks similar to what we have here. Only the actual values are in place of the field name example. Let's switch these back. Now, as a default, the existing files are set to append to N. This takes anything that has all the same values for any index fields that have the same folder and file name checkboxes and combines them into one. The append to N specifically refers to the fact that if you process the images more than once with the same index values that have folder and file name checked, they'll be added to the same file automatically. Let's see an example of that. Just as in the original configuration, the folder and file name structure is the same. But we can see that we have more than one image in each file name. And that's due to the fact that all the fields with folder and file name checked were identical. So in this particular document there's 4. So if we run the same configuration again, due to the fact that it has all the same information, it's going to add it to the existing file that's already there, as opposed to creating a new file. So now, if we open this, we see that there's 8 pages to this document, where there used to be 4, because the same files were added to it. The same thing works for append to start, only any new files are put at the beginning of the output file if all the indexes are same with folder and file name checked. Replace existing actually replaces the file in the output folder with the new file if the indexes are the same. This way, if you want to delete any files that have been done previously, you can do that automatically. Numbered one-page files allows you to create single image files in the output folder. This means that each page, one side, will be its own file. And then based on the file/page number length, an auto number will be added to the end, which uses that value to separate between the images. So for an example, we'll run this again with numbered one-page files. So now we have 4 separate files with a single image in each file. And the auto number is used to separate the file names so you can have 4 separate files. number first file is used if you're generally going to have files with only one page every time. That way you don't have the number 1 at the beginning of the first file. And if there's any additional, it'll auto-add starting at 2 to dictate different files with the same index criteria. And as you saw before, it uses the field separator value to separate out the auto number. Now, max pages per file sets the total number of pages that are allowed in the output file. Generally, you use that in conjunction with an auto number field. So what you do is you set max pages per file to say 2. Then you configure an auto number field to increment on every max pages. And as soon as the max pages are hit, the auto number is set. Now, if you set max pages to 0, that generally means that you can save an infinite number of files to a multi-page output file. Keep in mind that the more images that are in your multi-page output file, the longer it takes in general to open that particular output file. So max pages can be good if set to, say, a number like 500 to avoid having lengthy opening times. The image file type sets what format you want to output the images to in SimpleIndex. This only applies to image files, including TIFF, JPEG, and PDF, but also things like GIF or any other image-only file type. Now, if you have an import that isn't an image file, say a Word doc or an Excel spreadsheet or something like that, it'll automatically save to the original file format. So if you import a Word file, it'll output a Word file, even if you have the image file type set to PDF. And then any other images will be output to PDF. PDF-A is an archival format of PDF, which gives you limited PDF functionality as far as the extra controls go, but allows you to open the PDF in any version of PDF viewers that you might have. That way you don't have to worry about PDFs being corrupted or not openable in later versions of your PDF viewing software. Now we can also set the file properties on export, which sets the metadata for the Windows file. So in this particular example, if we right-click on the file and go to Properties, the details are where the metadata falls. Now, as you notice, there's quite a bit of metadata here. All the index fields will be output to the metadata if set file properties on export is checked. But they'll all go to the keyword field unless you specifically set fields that you'd like them to go to. If you set the fields that you'd like them to go to, you make sure that the name in the SimpleIndex index field matches the name of the property that you'd like it to go to. So if you want an index field to go to the title property, then you would make this field be called title. Now we can also set PDF bookmarks. PDF bookmarks are included in most PDF viewers and give you subsections of the PDF. That way you can have one file name with subsections. This is especially good for the field like the document type. So if we run this, we'll see what that looks like. And we also left the set file properties turned on so we can see how that works. So the bookmarks are here, and we can automatically go to a specific bookmark. It's a very good way to organize documents within one file name. If we go to the properties, we can see here that the index has been set as the properties. Now you can also export full text information. To set that, you must turn on the full page OCR or be importing files that have full page OCR already enabled or that are already full text. You can turn on that. And then you want to set output full page OCR files. This will output the OCR text in the format that you have selected in the full page OCR file type dropdown. We can export the full text information to text, Word, HTML, or PDF plus text. If you have PDF set as the image file type for the output and PDF set as the output file type for the OCR, then it'll automatically create a PDF plus text file. If you set text as the output type, or any of the other three, Word, which is obviously Microsoft Word, or HTML, it'll create a separate file with the exact same index fields, but save it in the format that you select here. Let's output to PDF, for example. As you can see, the full page OCR does take longer, so it is a longer process. But it can be very useful when you want to search for any machine printed piece of text on any page or highlight text on the page like you find with most PDF documents. And just while we're waiting, one thing that you can do is set the full page OCR conversion with a separate configuration that runs in the background. That's a very good step to use with full page OCR and the server processing add-on, which allows you to run this application as a Windows service in the background. Once the files are done being OCR, you see the exact same information within Simple Index. So there's not a difference in the look and feel, but there is a difference in the time it takes to process the job. So now in the output we can actually select text in the PDF, and we can also do find. Now of course, if I'd set this to output to text, we would see a second file here with the exact same file name, only instead of being the type Adobe Acrobat document, it would be a text document, or Word, or HTML, depending on which you picked. Now the required checkbox is very useful for making sure that the information is filled in properly on output. So before you can save, if you have required checked, that information must be filled in. But if you uncheck it and a particular field is blank, then it puts the missing field value. Oh, we have full page OCR turned on. Let's turn that off to increase our processing time. So in this scenario, let's delete a few of the index values. We'll delete the name on this page and the age on this page. And when we export, we see that on the particular images that we deleted the information on, it put the word missing, which is the default missing field value. If you'd like to set the missing field value to another piece of information like not found or not entered or anything of the sort, you go into the advanced options. And then you substitute this value when field is empty or in an unattended badge. If you leave it blank, it'll be blank, or you can type whatever you want. Generally, you want to keep it to a smaller word, and I do suggest capitalizing it. That way you can lock in on exactly what wasn't read properly. Now there's some extra options for the output as well in this advanced indexing options window, so let's go over those. We have replace invalid file name characters. What this does is it takes any invalid characters that are a part of the folder and or file name for any of the indexes that have that checked. And let's open that for reference. So if a particular value was entered, say on the name, that couldn't be part of the file name, it would automatically replace that value with the missing field value. In this case, we have it set to dash, and we also have examples of what an invalid character would be for a folder file name. Asterisk, question, colon, pipe, forward, backslash, left and right chevrons. Windows does not allow you to use these characters at all. Now the prompt before appending to existing file is a good option if you want to use the append in option, but if in the export you want to make sure that that value or that image file should be added to, you click this. Then if append to end or append to start is selected and an image exists with all the index criteria matching the index criteria with folder and file name checked, it'll prompt you before it'll allow you to save. That way you can make sure that that actually should be appended to the existing file or possibly changed. The export zone OCR data to text files exports not only the full text information to the text output, but also the zone OCR information. So if you're using zone OCR and you want that data to be full text searchable as well, you definitely want to check this option. The PDF encryption can be used to create a password protected PDF on the output. So you put in your password and confirm it here, and you check encrypt PDF on export, which actually enables that functionality. Now if you'd like, you can use the password from your Windows account or Simple Index login. And if you'd like to do that, you check the use password from user login option. Now we can also export a snippet that's cropped from the image. And we do that by using the saved region file name. Now you do have to have an OMR configuration set up for this. So let's go ahead and open the sample that I already have set up that I called automatic cropping. So in this, we have the region file name set to payment terms, which means that it'll add a payment terms to the end of the snippet file as a subsection or a subfile of the original. And it will, of course, separate with the field separator value at the end. Now this one looks in a particular spot, and the negative indicates that it should be put as a snippet, and then if it finds a value in that area, it outputs it. So if we run this particular job and output it, we have an output with the actual image without the ending value, and then the snippet with the payment terms that's called payment terms. This can also be used for signatures, so you can have a snippet of just the signature. That's the end of the Simple Software Training University video number 108, Output Options, getting the format, folder, and file name you want. We've seen how to configure Simple Index to output files in a variety of different ways to make sure that your images are saved and organized in the way that you need.